Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Yeah.
About what this talk is. The vortex of me. We're always talking about create your own reality. And I found this story that's going to work perfect with my talk. Well, perfect is subjective interpretation. But anyway, it's going to work with my talk. And the name of the story is BFSSS. And it's going to take 7.5 to 8 minutes to read it. So snuggle in, drink your coffee, get your water, get all comfy. There was a man who had a beautiful house, a big piece of land with gardens, fountains, a beautiful view as far as the eye could see. This man had worked his whole life to attain all the wonders of his property and wanted to assure it would be protected forever. So he built a giant fence around the entire perimeter of his land. At the edge of the property was a giant gate made of iron and barbed wire. All the seams were reinforced with steel, and he assured himself that this fence would protect him from anyone trying to take anything that was his. He lived this way for many years. All the wonders of his land there for him alone to enjoy and experience without any concerns of a break-in or of someone infiltrating his estate. He lived in his own world and was content on existing with what lay before him, sometimes curious about what was on the outside, but resigned to live his life within his personal domain. He had everything he needed right there inside the confines of this ostentatious barricade. So what need to venture out or allow others to venture in? This had gone on for many years. He thought himself very smart to protect his land like this. What a wise man I am, he thought to himself. I can live like this forever. Years passed with the man still living this way. One day he started to think about the outside world again. He noticed no one had ever come to visit. He never received any mail or deliveries. He had ordered some things from catalogs and they never seemed to arrive or be delivered. Some of the things he ordered he wanted very much, but no delivery drivers could get past those gates. And he had assured by the formidable construction of this enclosure that no one ever would. Some more years passed. The man was starting to feel a little isolated. Yes, all that was within his manor was beautiful, but nothing had ever changed, and he started realizing nothing he wanted was coming to him because of the structure that surrounded his territory. He wouldn't mind a visitor, he thought. He'd become very lonely, very despondent, and very unhappy. So one day, in a fit of frustration and anguish, he decided to tear down the fence. He removed every inch of steel, wire, and iron from his land. He took off every door and window to his house. He had realized he shut the outside world off from himself, and now in a desperate attempt to redeem his life, he got rid of every single aspect of this fortress. No gates, no doors, no windows, no boundaries whatsoever. The first day he got some mail and a delivery of something he had ordered months before. The next day, more mail. And then junk mail started coming. Deliveries of all kinds, stuff he never even ordered or wanted was inundating him. Every day it grew worse. More and more stuff was coming at him that he didn't want. People started walking around his land, animals coming and eating his entire garden and tearing up the lawns. Kids were sneaking around and messing with all the stuff and taking some of it as well. All sorts of invasions and incursions occurred daily until all he had worked for was gone. His house was in shambles. Pilfered and poached, rustled and ransacked, the man felt betrayed by life and by himself. I knew I should have stayed protected, he thought. I knew I should have never taken down my borders. I may have been alone, but what was mine was still mine. But what was mine was still mine. He vowed to rebuild the entire fence. This time I will build it as strong as a citadel. I will create a stronghold that will protect me and my land for as long as I live. I don't care what it costs, he bellowed on. I'll remember how wise I was at the beginning and reinforce and fortify this bastion. Just then, a very brightly spirited young man came walking right up to him on his property. Just walk right in, thought the man. Well, that'll be over soon enough, he murmured. The young man starts talking. So you finally got rid of that big fence and gate. Wise man. Wise man, he replied. I just lost everything I had. Thought if I'd be open to life, I thought if I'd be open, life would be happy again. Instead, look at this place. The young man says, "What? You have a great place here. Sure, it's been through some stuff now, but look how fertile it is. It has the potential to be even more than before you had that blocked off with that big fence." "How do you figure that?" asked the man skeptically. "I opened it all up and look at the disaster here." "That's not open, my friend. That's totally exposed. Big difference. What you need to do is activate your BF triple S. Every estate has one." "My what?" the man chirped. "Your BF triple S, your biofeedback 7 sensor system. Every body of land has one built right in. You just have to activate it." The man, bewildered and a little annoyed, looks at this young lad and says, "What the devil are you talking about? Where is this system and how does it work?" "Well," said the young man, "I'm surprised you haven't heard about it yet. It's the latest in great new age technology. It's generally at the center of the property. Here, follow me, I'll show you." The man follows the young stranger over to the center of this property. "Here it is," says the junior of the two men. "See how they are all in a line? These 7 sensors, when activated, will tell you when things are coming. They'll let you know if people are on their way and if they mean harm or good. They are also completely connected with everything that you want, feel, and desire, and so they constantly send out a signal to the mainframe, and you get exactly what you ordered all the time. It's really great. And it's a lot cheaper than maintaining that big iron gate." "Really?" the man asked. "What's it cost?" "It's free," exclaimed the younger man. "That is, as long as you maintain it." "Well, what happens if you don't?" asked the older man. "Well, my friend, it could cost you your life." "My life? What do you mean?" "All your hopes, dreams, and desires, everything that makes you you. If you let this system work for you, you'll feel great and have all you want. If you don't, well, you just kind of get numb and exist instead of live." "How do you maintain it?" asked the man frantically. "Well, see here, all these weeds build up around it. You have to clear all this out and simply keep the 7 sensors clear at all times. Oh yeah, see this 4th one? It's the heart of the whole system. Very important to keep this one open at all times. See how there's 3 in front of it and 3 more right after? It's kind of the center of them. You can call it Vortex, I guess. Keep it open and clear, and it will constantly send a clear signal to the other sensors, optimizing their output. By sending out a clear signal through this very important sensor, it will also be used as a receiver for you to enjoy all the things that get sent to you. The other sensors will work separately together, each with their own frequency, to keep your property in perfect balance, allowing only who and what you want in, and finally receiving all those deliveries you had been waiting for, constantly filtering out anything that would not serve your property. I'm telling you, it's a really cool system. Not like that archaic iron gate theme you had going on there for a really long time. And you're never exposed. You're safe to slumber with the peace of mind of knowing that your BF Triple S has got your back and will let you know if anything other than what's in your best interest is on its way. The man excitedly replies, "So all I have to do is keep these sensors clear?" "Yeah, do a little bit every day. Keep the space around each sensor nice and free of anything that would stop the signal. If you notice some delays in any of your deliveries, go check and see if one of them are blocked. Sometimes the wind will blow something in your yard, and if ignored, can block your signal all day long." "What about storms?" the man asked worriedly. "Can it handle them?" The young man smiles and confidently says, as with the pride of building the system himself, "Life brings storms, my friends. This system was designed to endure any storm that could ever possibly occur. As long as you go out immediately after the storm and remove all the debris, your biofeedback 7 sensor system will continue to serve you forever." The man excitedly starts cleaning all the sensors. With more fervor than he had exuded in quite a while, he removes all the weeds and any debris from around each sensor. He polished them with a brand new cloth and made sure they were all clean and well tended. He looks at the young man with an anxious smile and says, "Okay, all clear, so how do I turn it back on?" "Oh, that part's easy," said the spirited young man. "Just breathe." So, what's that about? We're doing a talk on Vortex and create your own reality. We talk about create your own reality in our community and a lot of different communities, many ways, and I think sometimes there's a misunderstanding of what that means. We look at it as this big thing, like I created this whole world, and my goodness, how can I be responsible for it all? You did not create this room. You did not create this 3D world. We, on that bigger cosmic picture, collectively as the spirit did. But in my own little world, as Mark and Beth and Randy and Julie and everyone that's here as individuals, we didn't create this room. But what we do create is the experiences we have in this room. We create what happens to us. We create how we feel about everything. The word reality has got the word real in it. What you feel is what's real. When we look at this, it's everything that I feel about this room, everything that I'm perceiving, everything I feel about every single person that's creating my reality. And there's 20 some of us here today. And we all have a separate feeling when we walked into the room. Now, sometimes we'll share similar feelings, but my reality is completely my own, and so is yours. So as we continue to do this, sometimes I think we should change the word or phrase to feelality. If you can say that without getting tongue-tied. Create your own feelality. Because it's really about how we're feeling that creates what we're attracting to us. It underlies that vortex that we are. That we are the vortex, and at any given point, we're attracting to us or we're repelling from us. There's a lot of different masters that have taught of these things. I will always go back to Jesus in the parable of the sower and how he was truly talking about creating your own reality and how thoughts become things. Buddha talked about thoughts becoming things. Abraham talks all the time, and Abraham is a group of beings that channel through a human being and impart their wisdom through her. And they're always talking about the laws of attractions, laws of deliberate creation, and using the word vortex. And we use the word vortex so many times. We used it in math when we were kids. But we use the word vortex and know that it's a center, it's a focal point. It's that point of, we created a little vortex here today with just the way we set the chairs up. A few people came in the room without having any idea what the talk was about and said, I like the way the chairs are. What did you like about it? Was it how it looked or how it felt? How it felt. It's about energy. As much as I made fun of energy last week, and will do again because that's who I am, I'm a ham. Hey, I mean to rhyme. To make fun of things is great, but a thing is what it is, and we still have to, gravity works, whether I make fun of it or not. It's like I dropped it. It's going to work. And when things fall on my head and clunk me, I can feel the gravitational force of the 3D world. Newton taught us about that too. So as we deal with being the vortex, it's really about how we feel. We think guarding ourselves protects us, but we really block everything we want from coming to us and everything we would like to send from being delivered. So it's an in and out way too. The vortex we have within us is governed by our sensor output, how close we let things come and how far we keep it away. We're going to do an exercise in a little bit, and I'm going to just premise it a little bit with that sentence of how close we let things come to us or how far we keep it away. And as we do the exercise with each other, where we're in a safe environment, we can be silly and giggle and laugh. It'll be an inward journey to discover energetically how close I let things get and how far I let things get. I keep them from my world, myself. Or am I getting... It's funny that you were talking about exposed, because in all the songs that Mel's picked, you would think that I told her the entire talk already, because all these different things that we've sung today lend to what we're talking about being guarded, about being open, about feeling exposed as opposed to open. Our system sometimes is so blocked that we become exposed to everything and become overwhelmed. So when we guard ourselves, what we're doing is we're actually shutting down that sensor system, or chakras, as we've heard it before. And this story lends to it in its playful way. But for the mind's sake, I would like to redefine those two words. Let's define open as the ability to let the energies flow in and out fluidly. And let's define exposed as the state of being when those energies are simply coming at you and slam us. So the example there would be, if I'm feeling exposed, even your love is going to overwhelm me. And love is good. Love is warm. Love feels wonderful. There's a difference between vulnerability and exposed. So to define that again, open is the ability to let the energies flow in and out of me, and exposed is when they're coming right at me. So if I have this, while I have this wonderful biofeedback 7 sensor system we talked about in the story, we know that that fourth center is what? The heart chakra. And there really is 3 right before it and 3 right after it. And the heart chakra is one that we want to keep open, flowing all the time. We want to keep all of them open and flowing all the time. But the ways that you can assist your own other 7 sensor systems is by keeping this heart chakra open as much as we can. And I'm going to move this out of the way for a second so you can see the vortex of light I'm sending to you. And I'll wrap it in a bubble and send it back to Buddha, is understanding that this is the center of our chakra system. And that's just this ethereal body. We know that outside of our auric field and all that, blah, blah, blah. Let's stay with the basic 7 sensor system for the moment. And knowing that the heart is the center. And as I stay in my heart chakra, which mostly when I'm around this group of people, that's the easiest one for us to stay in because it's a group of loving people. We get stuck in our root chakra and being connected to the earth. We get stuck in our second chakra and being stimulated with too much sensations or not enough. Our power center. We can go up and down those chakras and work on them. And one of the easiest ways for us to assist those other sensors is by staying in the heart. Now, say you want to do some visual work with yourself. You want to picture a color, that's great. You want to picture it just white. You want to picture it of line of light. The vortex is going to be, I guess I need my hands, is going to be that point that you make a focal point, either sending out or sending in. So if you're working on your heart and your third eye, picture a line, whatever color you choose. If you want to choose the color of the chakras, just visualize these 2 things coming to a point and have your heart always be one of the lines. Now, in perfect harmony, every single thing, we would have a line going straight out of our heart, if you can visualize this, and every single chakra sending its magnetic line to it, joining. And if I could write it, just be joining lines, and when you look at it, it makes a V and it makes a vortex, and the heart is right in the middle. Always us living love. We talked about that in the Handbook to Higher Consciousness. No matter how I look at it, if I say that sentence over and over and over again, it's going to help me with those chakras. If I stay in the heart chakra while I'm focusing what I want to visualize, I'm sending my love into it and I'm helping my own sensor system. If I know, a lot of you know my history as far as some of the medical things that happened to me last year. My guts got ripped open twice in major surgeries, and it's this chakra. Sometimes our chakra system gets wounded too, and we have to heal it. And I'm just starting to get some of it in my own self and really owning it of how much work I have to heal on this particular chakra. It's not about judgment. I was talking with Sue a month ago or so. She was talking about heart attack patients and how after people, heart attack or open heart surgery patients, that they sometimes will temporarily give them some antidepressants because they have a hard time adjusting because a chakra got opened up too. And this is where we deal with grief and all that kind of stuff. And it was wounded, cut right open, energetically, and needed to heal. So as we're doing this stuff with ourselves, we can do that same healing with it. Now, one of the ways to know if you're building up weeds around your own center is to take inventory of your thoughts and your feelings. One of the ways that I call this, one of the ways of taking inventory I call 7-Up syndrome. If you're feeling like a 7-Up. People are looking at me, it's like, isn't 7-Up considered the uncola? So if I'm ever feeling any of the unwords, I know that I'm causing blockages in my own centers. Here's some of the unwords: unaccepted, unloved, unwanted, unable, undesirable, unappreciated, unworthy, unseen. And this is the biggest weed builder there is, unexpressed. If I don't get to say what's going on in me, I'm blocking and covering and fogging up all my sensors all the time. So remember we were talking about how if we use our heart to help recalibrate and adjust the other sensors? So that's a good example of sometimes how our loving will supersede what's going on in our head or what we think we see. That third eye can get askewed sometimes, and we have a picture that's, well, askewed. So that was a good point. Any other, just this is about discovery, because there's nothing that you could do wrong here.
I have one. Actually, I felt very anxious. It's like, not allowing anybody to get close, but I knew this is a safe room because I feel the energy of love in here. But still, just the human body coming toward me.
Right. Yeah, so many times that we keep people out so far in our space, kind of like what you were just saying about that friend. Or we let people too close to our space. And again, it's almost like this isn't, what's the word? Oh, I just went blank. When they do, this couldn't be the base for any scientific test because this group of people is very loving and very open with each other. So it was almost a setup with this particular group of people because of how interacting we all are, how open we are with each other. But it's really about those definitions of exposed and open. And it's like when I'm feeling exposed in life, you're gonna be all in my stuff, and I'm not even gonna know you're coming. And because it's a difference between being open and letting my sensors be able to work for me and know when you're coming and be able to put my hand up or not. Because at any given moment, if my feelality is changing, I might stop you all the way at the door one day and let you sit on my lap the next. It's so our energy is constantly amplified or bellowing out. Well, what is the norm of it? What is your normal? This is about discovery of like where you're at with life. If this is create your own reality, what other things did you, and I want you guys to give feedback because we're talk for a couple more minutes and then we'll do our ending song.
I'd be very interested to see how I reacted if it was a total stranger. Because, part of my problem is just letting everybody in. And so I would really be interested in seeing people that I didn't know when I felt that.
Right.
If I would or not.
What you do with your energies when it's a stranger versus when it's somebody that we're pretty comfortable with. Wait a second. Miss Suzanne?
Well, I've noticed that with a stranger, it depends on who that stranger is and where they're coming from. Because there are some people that I remember, and I can't remember where I was or what was going on, but there was some woman that was talking to me. I'd never met her before, and she was literally right in my face, and I had to back up. But there are other people, they could be a stranger and they could, get that close and it wouldn't bother me. But there was something about that person that just I had to back off, So I don't think, it has a lot to do with the other person too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's when my sensors are on, and I'll get to you in a second, when my sensors are on and all my weeds are out of the way and they're nice and clear and everything's working optimally, I'm going to be able to pick up when that other sensor is askew, is coming at me. And I might put a border, a boundary. There's a difference between a wall, a fence, and a boundary. Boundaries are invisible and they can be moved. They're energetic. The fences, the gates, the walls, they block. They keep us guarded and they don't let anything in. And then over time, that's why in that story I like it, over time, those fences didn't serve him. And he became more exposed because he was so guarded, he thought, I got to just take it all down. It's like we have to be aware. And when we're using our sensor systems or our chakras the way they're intended, they'll let us know what's coming at us and whether it's good, safe, or unsafe. Randy.
I was going to say, I think for some people it makes a difference if it's a
Same, and energetically it's going to land the same way as what we just said. It's like your energies now are going to go by how you feel. How I feel may have happened in yesteryear and I haven't dealt with it emotionally yet, It's going to come online. It's going to affect me energetically. It's going to affect what I'm putting out and what I'm willing to let come. So I may let Beth walk right up to me, and no, men hurt me before, or Scott's got to stay all the way out there. And Scott may be gentle Ben. Maybe and Beth could be the one that might really get me. But just from those two energetic feelings, because that chakra obviously still wasn't completely clear, because it was dealing with that issue. As we clean up the weeds more, or whatever the weeds are, that's why I like that 7-Up syndrome word, because those are a good place for us to see when we're in the weeds, when something is blocking a sensor. And as you look at the different words, unlovable, unaccepted, unwilling, unable, oh wow, watch how they align with the different chakras. Unlovable, unworthy, unseen. Which one of your sensors are even out? Is there anything else anybody wants to share or discover?
This isn't the first time I've done this one. I've done this a bunch of times. So one of the things that I noticed that was different today was I felt you coming both times. It was in the shutdown. I mean, I literally felt the fluttering both times as he was walking towards me. I know the first time I said stop and he was further away from me. And the second time he was closer to me. And I thought to myself, he was further away because I was pulling the trigger on not letting someone closer to me because I was all shut down and I knew I was shut down. And when he came in the second time, he came into that spot where we could walk to each other and start. I'm not really good at having people ready to I'm a hugger, and I like to be in groups, and I love my family and my community, but I would really prefer you to stay 3 or 4 feet away in my world. And I noticed when I was open, when I was feeling good, when I was clear, that's where he was. He was one step away from being able to come out and engage him, and it felt good. And I didn't feel like, I mean, there was a time where I've done this exercise in the past and had someone stop way out there and felt bad. It's like, oh man, I like you, it's okay. But that was what was going on in my body. That's how the mechanism was working in that moment. And to come off of where I'm feeling bad and where I'm not feeling bad, and notice where I am. Because that's really what that exercise is all about. There is no right and wrong. It's where are you? How are you hanging out in that? And how can I see me more clearly by knowing that?
It's interesting because when we first did it, the first one, when I was locked up, I had her stop at a point, and then I just took a breath and let it clear, and then I said, come on.
She did part 2 already.
That's what I did. I was like, stop. I'm like, okay, let it go. And then, okay.
So let me ask something then. There.
When you get overwhelmed, like when you feel overwhelmed, what part are you using at that point? I mean, I know I take a deep breath and I relax.
Sometimes overwhelmed means all systems are like overwhelmed, and it's breathe and start with what's your thoughts.
Reprogram.
What? Well, no, yes, but what? First, I got to discover what was the thought that just got me overwhelmed. What did I think when they were coming at me that made me feel that anxiety, that feeling? Maybe I felt threatened. Maybe it triggered sometime in a place where someone violated my space. Maybe it could be any one of them. That part is going to be an individual discovery, but that's one of the ways to discover which sensor you're working on, which one needs to be cleared, weeded, polished, whatever you want to call it, healed, nurtured, loved. That's why the center is the center. The more, and what you were just saying right along with it, that, and what you just said even more as well, that as soon as she I knew I was closed down, but her general nature is loving, put the love right on it already and allowed people to come in. When we get all closed down, that's when exposure happens and we get overwhelmed, and it feels like they're just violating our space. So that's why it's really imperative to actually have a boundary and let them be moved. It's like, talking about Seinfeld with the face talkers. That's a boundary with me. And I love people. And I don't want to eat what you just ate. You know, I don't want to breathe in what you just breathed in. I want my own little fresh breath of air. And it doesn't mean it's that far away. But there's other moments in life where we become more intimate with each other where there's no space between us. Well, scientifically, there's still empty space, but whatever. That's also another level of understanding and discovery for ourselves. But it's also about, as the vortex of what we're creating, and we did that exercise with people, what am I keeping away from me that I want? We all have arm's length. Okay, Scott's got a longer arm's length. But if we all kept everything that we always wanted at arm's length, it would never be within us. Sometimes we have to keep something on arm's length. We have to just discover and know that they're in a place in that moment. No judgment, unconditional loving, and discernment steps in and goes, okay. And then there's a place where we understand that, okay, what do I want to allow into me? Let me open this up. And the more I'm open, I'm flowing. That's what I redefine those for. And if I'm closed down or unguarded completely, I become exposed, and then life just comes at me. And it's a discovery, it's a journey, everything. Walk away this week and practice this with people and privately. It's like, see, just that too. But see how close people come to you in public world. It's like, why is a total stranger in my business? And why not? Hi, how you doing, perfect stranger? Wow, I guess I was feeling good that day and safe, and I knew that it was okay to have this human right there. It's being aware of that. We were talking a little bit about crowds yesterday. I don't really like crowds. Maybe, but I've had to deal with crowds, and when I deal with them, I change what I do with myself. It's not like we press a button or something. Okay, crowd energy. Special suit. But we do that. That's exactly what we're doing. If we could truly all see each other's colors, every time we change our energetic field, we're constantly putting on different suits. So be aware of what your suit is, and is it serving you? As in the little story said, this system will give to you only what serves the property. You're the property, this is your domain. When the activated system is activated and working wonderful, it will only let into your experience what serves you. It's not about interpretation of good or bad. It may have served me to have my guts ripped open twice in 1 year. So that's not about it. I keep negative experiences away from me because I beamed my energy out. That is not what that's about. It's about knowing that when you're optimally working, only what serves your highest good for this being on its spiritual path and on its journey of discovery will allow into your field. Otherwise, you're creating by default. It's a core after 12. We went pretty long, but that's cool. I hope everybody had fun. Does anybody else want to say anything before we close? Miss Melanie?
I think sometimes it's the crowd dynamic as well. When you just said, you get the crowd mentality. I get super nervous in crowds. Like I don't go, that's why I don't like to go to stores or anything like that.
Right.
So it was actually not that I felt Becky coming towards me, it's that I felt them all coming towards me. There's the way that it was set up.
Right.
I felt, so that's part of why I got so nervous, but then I had to remind myself, it's just Becky, it's just Becky, it's just Becky,
Right on.
It depends on the placement of things and.
Yeah. And all the things that have happened to us throughout our lives affect that energy field. And those are the places of discovery for us to go, all right, let me be aware of this so that I can do whatever I choose to do to be more comfortable in those situations. Right on. Now let's go sing a fun song. And so it is.
The soles on these shoes are wearing thin from all of the miles that I have been searching. Trail might be cold, but it's not quite frozen. But I'll find my way if I just walk each day with my heart wide open. I've been worn down old river stone, caught up in the current, tumbled and thrown. My spirit is weak, but it's not quite broken. Let that river run, and I'll take what comes with my heart wide open. I wanna take every breath like it's the last one that I'm gonna get. I want to release every regret, let go of the pain and forgive. I want to know what it's like to live with my heart wide open. I've held on too tight, I've let go too soon. I have built walls clear up to the moon, but now here I stand, unguarded and hoping that love calls again, 'cause I'll jump right in with my heart wide open. I wanna take every breath like it's the last one that I'm gonna get. I want to release every regret, let go of the pain and forgive. I wanna know what it's like to live with my heart wide open. Oh, I wanna know what it's like to live with my heart wide open, wide open. Bless all